Welcome in, everybody. It's Lady Isis, the spiritual detective, and we're going to be talking about what you can see here, Gangstalking and frequency psychosis, and maybe a little bit of quantum physics. But today we're going to focus more so on understanding Gangstalking perceptions. Okay, so if you're new here, I am pretty much a teacher, a guide, a coach. I'm multifaceted, okay? I have many things that I do. And my passion for teaching is to liberate you and to give you the tools that you need on your journey and to become a better version of yourself as you travel along your journey, or pretty much guide you through this spiritual awakening and help you unravel the different layers during spirituality or awakening, or what people perceive as gang stalking. This is not to take away any experiences that you do have. And if you do not feel safe, I suggest you seek the necessary outlets for your safety, okay? If you feel literally stalked, or if you feel like you're going to be harmed in any way, definitely seek the right personnel. Okay, so this is not to take away anybody's personal experiences. I am just here to break down the mechanics psychologically, socially, energetically, and spiritually. Okay, and physically too. Okay, because we don't want to discredit any of our experiences. Okay, this is coming from my experience. Okay, and this is from my perspective, and yeah, my point of view. Okay, I'm not here to convince anybody to believe anything. Okay, this is a safe space where we support each other, we talk about our experiences, we see each other, okay, and we respect each other. Ultimately, this is about respect. So keep it cute in the comments, all right? So we're going to talk about understanding gang stalking perceptions, okay? So when people say they are being gang stalked or targeted, most people are describing a cluster experience that feels coordinated, personal, or threatening, okay? However, there are 7 layers to these experiences, and not all of them come from the same source. So this lesson that we're going to dive into is going to teach us, or I'm going to teach you guys, how to understand how this looks psychologically, socially, energetically, and spiritually. Okay, so social and psychological layers, which is our 3D experience, okay, and human behavior, okay? We have social manipulation. So that can be perceived as gossip, triangulating, okay? People teaming up against you, okay? Or teaming up out of their own insecurities because they perceive you and your vibration or your frequency rising as a threat. So they may team up against you out of their own insecurities, okay? Reputation sabotage and exclusion to social circles, okay? So they may isolate you. You may begin to feel like you don't fit in anywhere. Exclusion to social circles, okay? So they may isolate you. You may begin to feel like you don't fit in anywhere. Put the phone on focus so we can stay focused, all right? We had a call come through, so I hope you can hear me now. Hope you can hear me now. All right, so do understand that we are multidimensional beings, and when you understand that concept and you are beyond this 3D experiences, then you should naturally want to question the energy behind gang stalking. Okay, so if I'm going to teach you how to live in your truth, choose love over fear, then that means I can't encourage you to be fear-based minded, because then you will start to create a fear-based perception and experience. Okay? So it's very important that we find solutions to every problem. So if you feel like you are targeted, if you feel like you are being gang stalked, harassed in any way, there is a solution. That is how I see it. That is how I operate my entire existence. Problems are pretty much solutions. Okay. Listen, to every problem, there's a solution, period. That's what I'm getting at. So this is the breakdown. Okay. So if anybody coming in here that's confused, or they might not understand my thinking, okay, we are not a victim. And I say this to you guys all the time. And I really want y'all to practice embodying that. So if you're not a victim, then that means there's a solution to every problem. Okay. All right. So we were talking about the social manipulation. Do understand that most society are victims of social manipulation and what is it? Social engineering. Okay. So a lot of scientists and so-called psychologists and people who study human behavior, we can get into that aspect of it another time, or do your own research, do your due diligence to figure out, the masterminds behind social engineering. And then you will understand why most people who we consider NPCs react out of fear to your frequency rising or your ascending. Okay. This is why, because they are bots. Okay. They have a bot mentality, a NPC mentality. They don't think for themselves. They have a programming. Most people are programmed. Okay. So even when we put that into consideration, when we talk about gang stalking and feeling unsafe or feeling like you're being harassed or in any way targeted, okay, hey, then once we put into aspect or put into the whole process of gang stalking and knowing that most people are programmed to behave and react a certain way. So that means they're programmed to also react when you are doing something out of the ordinary. Okay. Energetically and frequency wise, you're doing something out of the ordinary. Most people are programmed to what we perceive as attack or get you to comply or to get you back into that matrix programming mentality. Okay. So that is the social and psychological layer. Okay. And what happens is your subconscious may label these patterns as organized the moment it detects repeated emotional threats. Okay. So it's about reprogramming or overriding that matrix fear-based programming. Okay. And moving in a knowing, moving in observation, moving in detachment, moving in love. Okay. Because love over fear. If you're moving in love, then you're not moving in fear. You're not a victim. You're an observer. Okay. Thank you, Queen of Goddesses. Okay. She said she reposted. All right. So a lot of times this happens in families, workplaces, and communities. Okay. It feels coordinated because humans mirror each other's behaviors, especially in group dynamics, especially with group think. Okay. Especially with hive mind individuals. Okay. You're awakening. You're woke. Or that's what people say. You're woke. But you're awakening, you're ascending, you're expanding your electromagnetic field. Okay. You are what they perceive as a threat. Okay. My ebook is 50% off during this live. Once I get off the live, it is back to regular price. Okay. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, they perceive you as a threat because they can't detect they can't label, right? They can't decipher what you are energetically, right? Because we are layered beings. We are layered, all right? We are multidimensional beings. So do know that they are reacting to your frequency and your energy. Do understand that. And even when we look at it from like a scientific perspective, when you expand your Taurus field and you become more love-based minded and you are no longer operating from a hive-minded program, it expands, okay? So you're dealing with most people who are NPCs who has a condensed, okay, your vibration. So they respond out of fear because they're fear-based minded, okay? So in a community or workplace, hostility, all right? So these are the situations where people interpret group behaviors as a target attack, okay? So there might be like sudden coldness. You might feel like you're getting a cold shoulder from people around you. Again, they're inauthentic. They're inorganic. They can't perceive your authentic frequency as non-threatening because they don't embody that frequency themselves and they are fear-based minded. Okay. Strategic rudeness. Okay. So they will be rude to you. They're reacting to your field. Okay. So you're going to feel like they're being rude to you. Okay. But really, it's really fear. I can't stress that enough. Okay. So contradictory instructions as well. We got passive aggressive behaviors and everyone is acting weird towards you. So if you feel like everyone is acting weird towards you, that should really encourage you to ask, well, why? You know, what is the reason? Especially if you know you're not being rude to them, especially if you know you're not treating them any other way than you would treat anybody else, you know, so they're threatened by your field. Okay. So when multiple people share the same unhealed wounds, they behave similar. Okay. So they behave in similar ways. Okay. So to the subconscious, similarity equals coordination. Right? Coordination subconsciously, it means that they are in on it. Okay. So you see how they can give us that Gangstalking feel, especially when you encounter this same type of energy amongst people who don't know each other. You in different environments, but they have the same energy, right? So it's about what energy is this, or what frequency is this manifesting in my reality, or what frequency is this responding to my field? Okay, that's what it's about. But your subconscious mind is perceiving it as coordination, as organized behaviors. Okay. So environmental and behavioral patterns. Okay. So you may start to notice that you feel like people are staring at you. Okay. Or you like ostracized, or synchronized movements, repeated encounters with the same strangers. I just said that. Cars slowing down near you, or you may notice patterns with colors with cars, or, you know, just something, you know, weird. Okay. People showing up wherever you go. So it might be an instance where, say you walk in the store, nobody's really in the store. And then about 5 minutes later, you got a gang of people, or a rush of people that just automatically come in the store. Right. Or even if you in a line getting some food or something like that, you're the only one in the line. All of a sudden, it's about 5-6 people behind you. What I want you to understand is that your field attracts, okay? It's attracting beings, okay? Whether they are aware of it or not. I want you to be aware of what's happening, okay? They may not be aware of it, but you are attracting. And with your mind, you're becoming conscious of your experiences. Okay, so now you're more aware of people. It seems like people come rushing in after you when normally you probably would never even pay that any attention. So it's about being, bro, hold on. Hold on, y'all. Because I don't understand. Like, I don't. Let me stay focused. Stay focused. Like, why do y'all watch me? I don't get it. Why?
Move over, pumpkin.
I'm just trying to stay focused on what I'm teaching. Like, get the hell on somewhere. Anyway. Hold on, y'all. I'm coming. All right. So these patterns may feel personal when the nervous system is already in hypervigilance, okay? I butchered that word all up. So that's what I'm saying. When you become aware of it and you're in the moment and you're seeing all of these seem to be like synchronicities or same movement, same energy, it's just the same thing, right? You're just becoming aware of it. All right. You're becoming aware of it. So what if you're perceiving it as you being a target, then that means you have more integrations to do. Okay, you have more healing to do. You have more overriding the old programming to do. Okay, because you should not be moving in fear if you are an awakened spiritual being. You understand? You shouldn't be moving in fear. Okay. So you don't want to label yourself a target. And I do understand that it does feel like that at a certain point in your experience and in your reality. It's like you do feel targeted. But I'm here to tell you there's a science behind it. Okay? There are mechanics behind what's happening. It's not that you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. You're divinely guided and protected, and there are no coincidences. So this is where the quantum physics aspect comes in. Okay. You don't want to get stuck in frequency psychosis because that's what's happening. Okay. When you start to victimize yourself and you start to feel like you are a targeted individual. Okay. Again, we're learning the solution to what we perceive as a problem. Okay. So if you still fear-based minded, you might not resonate with the way that I'm teaching this because, fear is going to trump what from you receiving what I'm saying. Okay. So it's really about observing your environment, recognizing the synchronicities, recognizing the body language, how they treat you, how they speak to you, or whatever type of synchronicities are showing up in your reality. You can either see them as a threat or you can see them as some type of confirmation or just a synchronicity. Okay. So it's really about how you perceive what's happening. And depending on if you are fear-based minded or not is going to determine how you perceive your experience. Okay. So digital and technological layers to this will be, okay, maybe you feel like they targeting you with ads or the ads are matching your thoughts. Okay. Or search suggestions reflecting your emotions. Algorithm patterns, phone listening sensitivities, and accounts breached or shadow banned. Okay. So that's not to say that there are not, scientists and psychologists and all of the people who do study, like I said, human behavior and digital warfare, sound warfare, all of the things. That's not to say that is not happening. Okay. So I don't want to take away from the experience itself. I just want to dive deeper into that experience. Okay. So you might find that you are sensitive to some type of digital sensitivities as well. Okay, so it could feel like digital surveillance or like you're being watched. Okay, and when we think about it on a like okay, because there are times when I did feel like I'm being shadow banned as well, and I know I am. Okay, because again, we're in a matrix where they want to control you. They want to control how you think. They want to control how your perception. They want to control, your outreach, especially if you're speaking about truth, especially if you can potentially wake up others or at least get other people questioning their reality. Okay, so you will get shadow banned. Okay, they will try to keep you from reaching as many people as you possibly can. Okay, so I feel like I experienced that myself. But do I victimize that? No. I just keep going. Okay, you keep speaking, because they can't stop you from speaking. They can't stop you from speaking your truth. They can't stop you from being your authentic self. They can't stop these things. Okay, so I don't victimize myself, even in that aspect. Okay, so you may feel like you're being surveillance digitally. Okay, so algorithms do track our behaviors. Okay, algorithms do track your behaviors. So when someone is emotionally overwhelmed, digital patterns look like intentional targeting. Excuse me. It looks like intentional targeting. These apps are set up to track what we respond to, what we comment on, how long we're watching what we're watching. What is that? That's how the For You page is built. Okay, or your main page on whatever platform is built based on your behaviors, again, because they study human behavior. This is how they're able to control the masses, through human behavior and social engineering. Okay, now, and people fear what they don't understand aspect as well. So if they fear what you're saying, they fear what you're teaching, or they fear your authenticity, then they attack it. It's going to feel like an attack. Okay, because they don't know how to perceive it. They don't know how to process it. Okay. So energetic and frequency layers. So this is the 5D inner sensory awakening. Okay, so this is the layer most people are never taught about or talk about. When someone begins awakening or shedding their subconscious programming, they become hypersensitive to energy, vibration, synchronicities, frequencies. Okay, this sensitivity creates the illusion of being watched. Frequency overload. So those symptoms could be hyper awareness, auditory or visual sensitivity, synchronicities accelerating, feeling seen by strangers or watched, feeling mirrored by your environment. Okay, so when your vibration rises faster than your nervous system can handle, reality feels like it's reacting to you. This can also feel like gangstalking even when nothing external is happening. Okay? So do understand, when your vibration is rising faster than your nervous system can decode or handle. It is not for you to become fearful of what's happening. It's for you to become aware as to what's happening in your body. Your nervous system is an intelligence. Okay, so it reacts to frequency, vibrations. Okay, so I think that a lot of people, or a lot of us, have been programmed to, like, when our nervous system responds to fear, we automatically go in fight or flight, or freeze or fawn. So overriding that programming is not an easy override, but it's possible. And the main thing is for you to remain calm as much as you can, grounded in that moment, and observe and detach. Okay? This is, like I said, this is not for me to discredit anybody's experience, Dean. Dean said, what about when you get stabbed by targeters? Okay? Why are you getting stabbed by a targeter? Can you tell me that you didn't feel like they were a threat? They just ran up to you and stabbed you? Why did this person just run up to you and stab you? And then it's not about me thinking different. I've had people stalk me, literally. And you know what I do? If somebody's stalking me, you call the police. You use these corrupt systems for what the fuck they're worth. Somebody's stalking you, somebody's stabbing you, you need to press charges then. Do what you got to do to make sure that you're safe. Okay? I'm not trying to discredit, and I will not discredit your experience. Okay? But also, if you are expanding your awareness and your frequency and your ability to decode energy, right? Then you should know when somebody is an unsafe person to be around to begin with. Okay? You don't surround yourself by people that you know are a threat to you. So again, don't victimize yourself. Make the proper choices and steps to protect yourself. That's what this is about. I'm just giving you different ways that gang stalking could show up in your reality, or what we perceive as gang stalking. Don't be stupid and surround yourself by people that you know are not safe for you, or they don't feel safe. Don't do it. Don't play with it. Don't play with your life. Okay? I don't be around people who I don't feel safe around. And if anybody that I've had to defend myself around, I will never be around you again. Never. Because you're a threat. You're a physical threat to me. And even if they are a spiritual threat, a psychological threat, a mental threat, a spiritual threat, a physical, if you are a threat to me in any way, I want nothing to do with you. Okay? So that's what I said. Don't be stupid. Say when they mind map you to your location and there's people there with base bats. All right, moving on. Dean, protect yourself. I'm telling you, I'm not going to keep going back and forth with you about this. I've already said at the beginning of this live that this is my take because I am a solution-based person. Okay? I am a zero bullshit tolerance person. So, and I understand energy and frequency. Okay? So this is what I need you to understand. All right? If you want to be a victim in your reality, then do that. If you don't want to use your inner knowing and your intuition telling you about danger and all of the things, do what you want, okay? I'm not here to convince anybody, all right? Be safe. Take the proper steps to make sure that you are safe. You should be so tapped in, all right? You should be so tapped in with self that you know before you go anywhere that if you can feel if something is not safe. And if you really are tapped in with source and you believe that you're divinely guided and protected, that means the universe ensures your safety. Okay? So that means you're always protected. If the universe got to rearrange 1,000 motherfuckers to make sure you're safe, then that's what's going to happen because you are tapped in and you know. Okay? Don't be a victim. And be safe. And I don't want to seem harsh, but I don't like the narrative that's being spent around this topic. Because you are going to keep experiencing fear if you stay in a fear mentality. You're going to keep producing that, okay? Because we are creating our reality, whether we realize it or not. These scientists know this. These people who study social engineering, who understand quantum physics, they know this. So as long as they can keep you feeling like somebody's targeting you, keep your mind focused on, all things fear, then that's exactly what you're going to experience. They want to keep you at a low frequency and a low vibration. Okay. If it's still happening for you, you got some more work to do. Okay. I'm not here to tell you anything other than what you are. Listen, I'm here to help the ones that want to be helped. Okay. If you want to be helped, if you want a solution to what you're experiencing, you need to heal. Okay. I can't stress that enough. You have to heal. You got to heal. Or you're going to perceive everything as a threat. And like I said, if you are in an environment where somebody's stabbing you, do something about it. Or, you say a gang of people at a location where you're at with that. Like, come on. Don't take my lesson somewhere else where I'm not trying to take it. Protect yourself. Okay? Protect yourself. Shadow body layer. Okay, moving on. Subconscious purging. Okay? When the subconscious begins releasing trauma, you start to heal, the external world can feel hostile. Okay? Do understand that. Shadow projection is real. That is what's happening, seemingly. Okay? People who are bots or NPCs, they're easily to be programmed because of their shadows, because of the trauma. Okay? Because of the abuse. And because of the lack of shadow integration, their perception is off. It's distorted. Okay. So what they're going to do to stabilize their energetic field when you are in there, in that area. Okay. They're going to project, whether that's covertly or overtly, like out loud or in subtle ways. They're going to try to stabilize that field because they perceive you as chaos. Okay? They perceive you as chaos. So shadow projection. So neutral faces look threatening. Ordinary behaviors may feel coordinated. Innocent interactions may feel intentional. Emotional triggers appear everywhere. That is just the universe's way of revealing to you, okay, what needs to come up, what needs to heal, what you need to integrate to stabilize your frequency, okay? It's almost like you're in an in-between point. Like that, like when you're in an airplane and they going up and you have that, what happens, like, before they settle in on a, what am I trying to say? Y'all know what I'm trying to say, right? Before they settle in on a, what is it, spirit? Like, it's like I know what the fuck I'm trying to say, but I hope that y'all pick it up what I'm trying to say. Okay? It's shaky. Like, you know what I mean? You got to settle. You got to get to a settled frequency, okay? Grand Rising. Turbulence. That's it. I was like, what the fuck is that word? It's turbulence. So that's seemingly what's happening. Okay. So you are trying to reach a steady flow. Okay. So it's like you're in between frequencies. Okay. I wish I do have a picture that I can show y'all too. It's in my phone and I don't. Next time I'll make sure I have some pictures. Okay. Where y'all can see. Okay. But hopefully you understand that analogy. So the outside world is reflecting back anything your subconscious is releasing or needs to be released. Something in my eye. Okay. So this shadow integration is not necessarily external targeting. Okay. Should always be going within, always questioning your reality, always questioning your experiences. Okay. There should never be a day where you're not questioning something. Okay. Never. Should be learning something about yourself every day, learning something about integrating something every day. Okay, because this is about expanding your consciousness, your awareness, and ultimately your frequency. Okay, the multidimensional and spiritual layer here. Okay, so that would be like a mirror reality activation. So as you ascend in awareness, life becomes more symbolic. Reality mirrors your subconscious. Very important. Reality mirrors your subconscious. Okay? You see patterns faster. You decode these patterns faster, or you should be. Your clairs evolve. All of the clairs, right? You receive messages faster. What we may call downloads or upgrades, okay? So it's pretty much like you're clearing the connection between you and source, your higher self, okay? Where you can receive clear messages or channels. Everything starts to feel connected, okay? So you start to understand that everything is interconnected, okay? Everything is interconnected. So I've been having the craziest dreams and just makes no sense. Okay. About what? Let's see if we can decode your dream. All right. So this is genuinely, this can genuinely feel like the world is reacting to you, or you're targeted, or people know things about you that they should know, or everything seems synchronized. Okay. And again, it could be perceived as stalking. Okay. This is consciousness expanding though. On a brighter side, on the flip side, your consciousness is expanding. Your frequency is integrating to a higher frequency. Okay. So the difference between actual targeting and perceived targeting. Okay. So actual targeting can come from narcissistic family systems. Okay. This part is very important because this is how we differentiate the two. Okay. So narcissistic family systems, or what I call the matrix family dynamic. Okay. Abusive relationships, workplace cliques, or narcissistic environments, local gossip networks, okay, whatever that may look like for you, covert monitoring from past partners. Normally, a lot of our gang stalking feelings and experience will come from people who know you, okay? Most people don't care, to be quite frank. People that you don't know personally, they don't care for real. Okay? It's mostly the people that we know and have access to us. So if you feel stalked by anybody, maybe they set you up to be stalked. I'm just saying. You say, I was in the jungle and I found a beautiful water. Left my sandals at a person's house. And the sandals appeared in the jungle. I was in the jungle, I found a beautiful water. You know what water represents? The subconscious mind. It represents depth, right? Diving deep. We are mostly water, okay? Technically, we're breathing in water, okay? We're in between water, okay? So it could have a lot to do with your subconscious mind too. It's always about the subconscious mind. Okay, so you say I left it at the house. Okay, 2 years ago. Your subconscious mind is the master of your reality. Now it's up to you if it's a good master or not. Because the subconscious mind is taking information. It's taking information all day long. Okay? And it's creating based off of what you program it to create. So, oh, something is right here on my hair. Okay. So that aspect of it, you guys, the narcissistic family systems, the abusive relationships, the workplace cliques and narcissistic environments, people gossiping about you or clicking up against you, okay, or coming against you in some type of way, the covert monitoring, from past patterns or situations, that aspect of it is real, okay? Those are real experiences. Again, this is not to dismiss anybody's experience, because I too have had these experiences. Most of us deal or come from very narcissistic family dynamics to begin with. This system that we call government is a narcissistic government, okay? So all across the board, we have had this narcissistic abusive relationship with families and society. Okay. I see you, Miss Jill. So perceived targeting comes from nervous system dysregulation. Remember I said before in previous lives, and I'm going to continue to say this, how important regulating your nervous system is. Because your nervous system is an intelligence, right? But if we come from trauma, we come from abuse, we come from narcissistic family dynamics, they teach our nervous system how to respond to trauma, abuse, and fear. Okay? That is what we had to learn to survive those environments. So now the universe is calling for you to integrate that fear-based programming and adopt the belief of love. Okay? That is what's happening. So you were programmed to misread your nervous system in a sense. Okay? So now it's about regulating your nervous system so that you can decode what your nervous system intelligence is saying to you. What is the message here? Is it safe? Is it not safe? Okay. And even with the ego aspect of it. Okay. We create our egos to survive environments too. Your ego is still needed and important, but it was a low frequency ego. Okay. So the objective is to evolve from your lower self, your lower ego, a dysregulated nervous system, okay, to connect with your higher self, your super ego, okay, and a regulated nervous system, and moving with the frequency of love, okay. All right, so spiritual awakening can be perceived as targeting as well. So you waking up and becoming aware and, seeing things that was pretty much, it was always there. You was not aware of it. Okay. It was always happening. That programming, that gang stalking, all of the things, it was always happening. You were just not aware of it. So you're becoming more aware of it. Okay. So this is the spiritual awakening aspect of it. Okay. So shadow release. You are also integrating those shadows. You're healing the trauma. You're healing from the abuse. Okay. You're healing from the fear-based programming. Okay. You are reconnecting to source, your higher self, your intuition. Okay. Because we were also programmed to not trust our intuition, to stay small, to stay silent. You know, if you did have gifts and was aware as a child, more than likely, if you had a narcissistic family dynamic, they made you not feel safe to express those gifts and not trust your intuition. Okay? So it's like we're having to recalibrate all of our center points, which is our chakras, right? We have 7 major center points, which is your chakras. And you have, that's your root, your solar plexus, your sacral, your heart chakra, your throat, your third eye, and your crown. Okay? All of that has been dysregulated, throwing your whole nervous system off. So it's about regulating them chakras again, healing from those, okay, targeted traumas. Okay? Because certain traumas and abuse attack different chakras, if that makes sense. Okay? But mostly that root and that solar plexus. Because if you can traumatize a person's sense of safety, stability, their self-worth, and their willpower, then everything else will follow. So you got to go down through there, heal from the environment, okay, that programming, being silent, not trusting your intuition, not being your authentic self, feeling safe to be your authentic self. Okay? You have to heal all of those things. You know, a lot of times, especially with narcissistic family dynamics, they don't want you speaking your truth. They don't want you exposing the shadows in that family dynamic, because that will mean they will have to be doing shadow work. They'll have to face themselves. So what they do is they project onto you. They traumatize you, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. It don't matter. It's still trauma, okay? And it's still abuse. And it still affected you in ways that your nervous system remembers. Even if you don't consciously remember the abuse, because we tend to disassociate from trauma and abuse. Okay, but your nervous system remembers. Okay, remember I said your nervous system is technology. It's intelligence. So it remembers. So you might not understand why you're so fear-based minded, but your nervous system do. Okay, so it's about integrating those shadows and healing. Okay. Can you also, some workers from an institution, Gangstalking. I don't understand your question. Can you rewrite that? The CNS, yeah. What's the CNS? All right. Now, pattern recognition overload as well. Okay, so we're talking about what we can perceive as being targeted. Okay, aside from the actual physical things that take place. Okay, so that's the nervous system dysregulation. Oh, central nervous system, central nervous. Okay, yes. Yes. Sorry, I didn't know what that stood for. Okay, central nervous system. Yes, so nervous system dysregulation, spiritual awakening, shadow release, trauma, hypervigilance. Okay, pattern recognition overload, and a rapid rise in intuition without grounding. So think about it. If you were robbed of your sense of security in your family dynamic, you were either emotionally unsafe, physically unsafe, spiritually unsafe. You were unsafe one way or the other. Okay? So you're going to have to teach yourself how to stay grounded in an experience where you feel threatened, or in an experience where you feel like you're being targeted. You have to teach yourself in your nervous system how to stay grounded and centered, so that you can decode your experience in real time, okay, and make the necessary adjustments if need be, or to just retain the information that you are receiving. Okay? So both experiences feel the same in the body. Both experiences feel the same. So that is the actual targeting versus what we perceive as targeting. If you are being actually targeted, as I said before, make the necessary changes in your reality to ensure your safety. Okay? But perceived targeting is also on you as well. And it requires you to go within. Go down within yourself, deep down in there. Integrate those shadows. Heal. Okay? Expand. Integrate. Rise. Okay? Say it happens when that an institution from government gangstalk. Like I said, it's not they're gangstalking all of us if that's the case. Okay? So if we are perceiving, and I don't even want to say perceiving because the government is doing what it does. It controls the mind, right? It's a mind control agency. Okay. So its goal and narrative is to control your mind. So if you regain control over your mind, then chances are they can't control you like they want, right? If you are creating your own reality, it is really nothing that they can do. If you're raising your frequency, it's really nothing that they can do. Okay? If they were going to do it, they would have done it by now. Whatever that is. That's how I see it. Do they not have the weapons to run up in your shit at any given moment? I mean, if that were the case. Sorry to hear that. She said she lost her sister 24th of November. Also, you saying it's a very sensitive time for you. Sending you healing and peace, Miss Jim. Healing and peace. Okay. All right. So to sum up everything that we learned today, your environment becomes patterned. Okay. So people interpret gang stalking when their environment becomes patterned. Okay. Or synchronistic. Okay. Your nervous system is already overloaded. See, do understand that you got to do that is the law of transformation. You have to shed something to gain something. Okay? When we put a seed in the dirt, what happens? It germinates. It becomes. But you got to put it down in the dirt in order for it to transform into something else. You got to go down in the dark within yourself in order for you to integrate and transform, vibrate higher, raise your frequency. Okay? It's the same principle. So you're interpreting your nervous system being overloaded. The subconscious mind is releasing old fears as well. Your intuition is awakening. And your reality begins mirroring your inner world, as it has been the whole time. Your reality has been mirroring your inner world the whole time. You are just not as aware of it as you are now, or will be, depending on where you are in your journey. Okay? So from the outside, it looks targeting. From the inside, it is an intersection of psychological, energetic, and spiritual activation. You are going through an activation. You cannot truly ascend and raise your frequency without going within. Okay? Without integrating and shedding those things that cannot vibrate on that frequency. You cannot skip that process. Again, that is law. You cannot skip that process. No one can. And if you're the type of person that think it's all about the intellect or getting the knowledge, you're going to fall victim to it every time because you know better. The universe is going to make you put that knowledge to work. You've learned the things. You got to use those tools to integrate, to transform, to raise your frequency. You cannot skip the healing process, collective. And then you'll realize that's how it goes. Every time you ascend and raise your frequency, you're shedding something. Things are going to collapse in your reality. You might perceive it as a negative experience, but it is indeed an integration, right? You're in the turbulence phase. Okay, you're in the turbulence phase. So anything that don't serve this next phase is going to collapse. So don't get stuck in the psychosis of this frequency integration. You are not a victim. You are not stuck. And let's understand what frequency psychosis means, right? Psychosis, the root meaning of psychosis is your psyche, okay? It means your soul, spirit, mind, and life breath. That's what psyche means. Osis means process, condition, and state of being. So it is literally a condition of your soul. Literally. A state affecting the spirit and a process of the psyche. Okay? So we got a lot of people that want the knowledge. They don't want the wisdom. That wisdom comes from experience. Okay? Experience of what? Integration. Okay? It's an experience. You have to go through the experience. Now, how you go through the experience is up to you. You can either fall victim to that experience and that integration, or you can observe what you're going through. You cannot attach to the experience. You detach from that experience, especially if it don't serve your highest good. Okay? And you focus on the condition of your soul. Okay? This is your soul essence, the original spiritual concept. Okay? Before psychiatry defined it or redefined it. Okay? It's the soul essence. The seat of your intuition. The center of your consciousness. The bridge between the physical and the non-physical. So in its oldest sense, psychosis is a disruption or transformation happening within the soul body. The psyche breaking its previous limits. Okay? You gotta let go of them old, outdated, limited beliefs. Truly. This is a deep shift in consciousness. Your soul is undergoing a radical change, and you are experiencing it in real time. You are aware of it. It is a soul event, a soul experience. This is why I say you can't skip it, and you can't fake awakening. The universe is gonna give you back the frequency that you're on. That's what you're gonna experience. So this is what I don't necessarily care too much about when it comes to so-called spiritual gurus, which I do not consider myself a spiritual guru. Okay, because I live this, I do this. Okay, I'm telling y'all what I actually do. Okay, and it's not easy. But I don't like when people are teaching about ascension or awakening, or kind of like just this light version of spiritual awakening without giving you the whole thing. Okay, or the integration process. Okay, that's the part you can't skip. I don't care how much knowledge or you have or intellect you have about a topic. You can't skip that. Okay. You can't. So when psychiatry reframed it, modern psychiatry stripped the soul out of its meaning and reframed it purely as a lost contact with reality. Okay. The original meaning was during intense spiritual awakening, ego death, kundalini rising, deprogramming, and trauma release. People experience perceptions that don't match the old version of the reality. Okay, of your old reality. This is why there's a fine line between what society calls psychosis and what spiritual traditions call psychosis or awakening, ascension, initiation, ego dissolution, and soul expansion. Okay? In ancient traditions, these states were guided, not medicated. You were guided through this process. And that is what I am here to help you do. Okay? Serve as a guide. You say rebellion, my aunt. See, that's how I know. You see, Dean, are you listening? Y'all have to listen, to understand, not listen to respond. This is basic communication. What I'm giving. Okay, you have to listen to understand, because initiation is what's happening when you are working on your shadows and you are healing. You are going through a initiation. I just broke down how. So y'all want spirituality coated in all of the glitter and it looks good. It gets ugly, okay? And honestly, I still feel like I'm sugarcoating it too much. But I want to be able to take a complex topic, condense it a little bit, break it down a little bit, but it's really nothing that I could say that can explain this experience. Really. It's like if you know, you know. You say, yes, I did in the simplest form. Thank you for that, because it's very complex, honestly. You know, especially when you're in the moment, right? Especially when you're dealing with a nervous system that is dysregulated, and to be in the experience of fear, you're embodying that. It can be very difficult to navigate that experience, because fear is a very dense energy. It's a very dense vibration. So it's like, to navigate in that moment, it can be difficult. It's not, I'm saying what I'm saying, but it's not an easy process. But practice Okay? You practice. Instead of reacting, you practice observing. You practice detaching. When you feel like somebody is projecting on you, you pause. You analyze what's happening, what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, what they are projecting. You analyze that. You reject what don't serve you. Okay? That is how you stay in the seat of your power, in the seat of your soul. You don't have to absorb everything that tries to enter into your field. Okay? So shedding outdated structures. The psyche is overwhelmed by unprocessed psychic material. A spiritual body expanding faster than the ego can interpret. Okay? It's what happens. So again, you may notice heightened pattern recognitions, feeling watched, seeing symbols everywhere, rapid connection of dots, intuitive perception increasing, sensory overload. All these are labeled by psychotic in the West, okay, by these what I call corrupt scientists and psychologists and sociologists, okay? Or, you know, they just distorted their true meaning of ascension. Okay, but our ancient systems and ancient civilizations, our ancestors, these were definitely recognized as early stages of awakening, and you were guided through that process. Okay? So you're not going crazy. You're not crazy. I want to stress that. You're not crazy. You're pushing through trauma, programming, and illusions. Observe, detach, ground. Analyze. Question. To every problem, there's a solution. You are the creator of your reality. You are reprogramming your subconscious mind. You are overriding the programming of fear, and you are moving in love. That requires integration. That requires separation from old, outdated patterns, thinking, and limited beliefs. Okay? So psychosis, what happens when the subconscious mind loses its container and spills upward into consciousness. Okay? So, let me see. How can I put this? Your Taurus field. I want you guys to go study your Taurus field. Go look at and do some research on your Taurus field and how energy moves. Okay, then maybe you'll understand how the subconscious mind loses its container and spills upward into consciousness. Okay, it's constantly expanding like this. Okay, constantly like this. Okay, so you have energy constantly moving. You are constantly moving and vibrating. Okay, I will show y'all a picture, but I don't think I have it on this phone. This other phone, rather. Here. Let me see. I'm going to show y'all that, but I want to show y'all this picture too, because this is important too. Y'all see that? You see how that looks? Yeah, auric field. Yeah. This is your aura. when it's distorted, when it's unhealed, okay? You see how anything can get in, okay? Through triggers, okay? Unhealed trauma, anything can get in and affect you, okay? Or what we may say, hijack your mind, okay? To get you to act in a way where it is not normal, okay? This is a healed aura. You see how it's sealed, it's protected. That's what you're doing when you're healing, when you're integrating those shadows and you're healing trauma, okay? You are sealing your field. This is what I call when you're sealing your field, okay? But that wasn't the picture. Let me see. Let me show y'all something. I'm going to get up off here because I said I was only going to be in here an hour. And I done went over. All right. So very important here, though. This is very important. Okay. Let me give a photo that you guys will be able to understand what this means when your subconscious mind loses its container and it starts moving in upward, okay? Dang, do this make sense? Let's see. I'm gonna stay for 2. Ciao. All right. I just want the Taurus field. All right, maybe that's a good one right here, okay? Let me see, can I make this bigger? Because your thoughts create your destiny, okay? Okay, hold on, wait a minute. Dang, what happened to it? Let me go back, y'all. Can y'all see that? I know it's probably not as clear as it need to be, but yes, the Taurus field. You see how it's moving in circles, like, see that? Okay, but just go look it up, okay? Please. Or I'll try to hide some pictures next time to where you can see it clearly. You're welcome, Miss Jim. Yeah, because I want y'all to see that, you know, you have the power, okay? You have the power to wield energy. You have the power to create your reality consciously, okay? You know, they dumb down society so much to the point where we feel helpless. So we feel like we have no way out, or we're misunderstood, or nobody understands what I'm experiencing. You know, and that's all a part of the programming. Okay, I'm not programmed. I might be maneuvering in this program, but I am not programmed. And I'm here to tell you, you're not crazy. And ain't nobody gonna tell me I'm crazy, especially when there's science to literally back up what I'm saying, because this is what everybody believes, there's science. Okay, and I'm tapped in, connected with source, the all-knowing, the divine, right? Just like you. Okay? Everything is interconnected. Everything is vibrating. Everything in nature has a Taurus field just like you too. Okay? So this was basically, I'll probably come back and talk more about the different types of gang stalking, but I feel like we covered that. I feel like we covered that in this live. You say, no, you say one is going to say I'm broken and I'm in a sunken place. No, my ass about to ascend. Exactly. See, because again, they're going to project their fears onto you. Okay. They're going to tell you that you're crazy. They're going to tell you that something's wrong with you. You need to seek help. You need medication. You know, they're going to tell you these things because they perceive awakening as a threat. Okay? I'm here to tell you you're not crazy, though. I'm here to tell you you don't need medication. You can heal yourself. Because the medication is just going to sedate you. It's just going to, alter your mind too. Not for the better. So it's like you might as well learn to heal yourself. Right. Mood stabilizer. Exactly. Because they want to stop the ascension. They want to stop the awakening. That's what it's about. Okay. From that aspect of it. Because if they are not teaching holistic healing, okay, and how to become whole within yourself and how to liberate yourself, instead they give you medication to suppress you, oppress you, then they're your opposition, period. That's how I see it. It's corrupt. Because we are supposed to be liberated. We're supposed to be free. Right. It's a system, and it is. It's about money. It's a system. It's a business. The pharmaceutical business needs sick people. They need sick people. So me teaching you how to heal yourself and connect your psyche, your soul with your spirit. Okay? Make those fragments whole again. They're going to be against that, right? Because now I'm fucking with their money. That's how they look at it, because it's a business. They win when you are sick. And I've worked in healthcare for many years, so I know how it goes too. They don't teach you how to heal yourself. They teach you how to pacify the dis-ease. You know, all dis-eases start in your astral body, your etheric bodies first. Remember I say we're multidimensional beings having a human experience. All dis-eases are rooted in stress. What is stress? Fear. They're not going to teach you how to love yourself, how to heal yourself. They're not going to teach none of that. And you may get a little bit of this teaching from maybe a psychoanalysis or a psychotherapist, okay? A trauma-based therapist. They're going to touch on it a little bit. Yeah. But you can become your own therapist. It is, say, past meds. Yeah. Somebody getting paid for them people to take their meds. I don't want to be no bot. I don't want to be a victim of this system. I don't want you to be that either. I don't want you to be that. You deserve more out of life, out of your life. They're practically stealing your life. If you're not living in your fullness, your authenticity, she say 666. Yeah. Confirmation. If you're not living in your fullness, then you're being robbed. And I don't like the idea of being robbed at all. I don't like the idea of somebody controlling me either. Say they don't teach you to respect your own rhythm and timing for healing. No, they don't. No, they don't. you know? So you either, no. You know, because, you know, you got to be a really fucked up individual to feel like you have to control somebody. You have to control somebody. Then when you realize that these westernized, like I said, therapists, sociologists, people who study human behavior, all of that was pretty much rooted in how to control the masses. It was for nothing else. But they understand, they know all about these sacred teachings and all of the things, but they don't want you to be free. They because they benefit off the collective being controlled. They benefit off of it. So why would they tell you how to be free if their objective is to enslave you? Why would they give you any tools to so you can use to free yourself? No, they want to make you believe that you're free so you don't question nothing. A lot of people just become compliant slaves in the system. They think they win it because they might have some money. They might get all of the things. They might have a fancy car, a fancy house. All of them things, all of those are just tools for you to use in their enslaved system. You agree to be a compliant slave if I give you all of these things. That's what it's about. So what are you willing to sacrifice for your freedom? What are you willing to sacrifice? Because it requires a sacrifice, one way or the other. Every choice we make requires a sacrifice, be it good or bad. So what are you willing to sacrifice to be free? What are you willing to live without for a period of time to be free? They don't want you to break from the matrix. Right. And those things are your chains. They are. You know, but that at the same time, it's like, what are you willing to walk away from for your mental freedom, your spiritual freedom, your spiritual body freedom? Could you walk away from that job that you know don't serve you, that you know makes you feel small, that you know is overworking you? Can you walk away from that family dynamic that don't respect you? Can you go no contact with people that you know don't have your best interests at heart? What are you willing to walk away from for your own sovereignty and your freedom? And knowing and trusting that you are still divinely guided and protected. Because this is what it looks like when you are expanding. Okay, when you are raising your frequency, it looks like loss. It looks like scarcity. It looks like lack. But really it's initiation. Really it's integration. Really it's transformation. It's restoration. That's what's really going on. You don't perceive any losses as you lacking something. Don't victimize yourself. Anything that doesn't resonate with you on your frequency is automatically going to collapse. Automatically. That's just the law. It's about your frequency. So if these people are not healing, if they are, compliant at whatever frequency they're at, and they choose to be a compliant slave within the matrix and don't question shit, and you do, then y'all on different frequencies. Okay? You say people are also keeping their self oppressed because they don't want to renew their mindset. When do they stalk you? Okay, so, and they'll try to lower your frequency. They'll try to say things to get you to question yourself. They'll try to they'll gaslight you to make you question your reality or what you're experiencing, right? They'll project their demons or shadows onto you. Okay? Because they haven't done the work themselves. Okay? That's just what it is. Maybe you need to be alone for some time. Maybe you need to spend some time with self. Okay? Maybe you've had too many people in your energy and you don't know what's yours and what's not. Okay? Maybe you have limited beliefs based off of what your parents told you about you because they were projecting their limited beliefs on you. You know, you're a sponge as a child. As children, we just take in everything that people say, how they treat us, and, you know, the environment. We just become victims of our environment. But at some point, you have to question things. You have to, you know, do what you got to do to evolve. Okay? But it gets very deep. It gets very deep, okay? So again, this stalking, it becomes dangerous when, you know, the person has no guidance. The nervous system collapses under intensity. The person interprets an inner activation as an external threat. And which is why you work on your subconscious mind. Or I'm here to help you work on your subconscious mind. And I can help you free your mind if you're willing to you know, retain what's being said here and what I am transmitting to you. Okay? So I'm just here to help you get a language to your experience, help you stay grounded in your experience, and provide you with a solution. Okay? And an explanation. Because I like to know why. What, when, why, where, how, who. Okay? Don't get trapped in frequency psychosis. Okay, what you say? They pay agents to follow you around, get people close to you to. Yeah, that's why I said earlier. I mean, if you're being stalked, more than likely it's somebody that you know. More than likely. And I have heard stories of people saying that they were paid to stalk people. You know, vandalize their properties or things of that nature. Their car. And again, it's not to take away from your physical experience. Okay? Not at all. All right. Let's talk about one more thing and then I'm for real. I'm get off here because I want to talk about schizophrenia too. Okay, I am not a medical professional. This is just my opinion. Seek medical help and treatment for whatever you are experiencing, okay? Just want to put that disclaimer out there. Okay, so the difference between psychosis and spiritual awakening. The meaning of disillusions and hallucinations and the nervous system mechanics behind soul expansion. Okay? So the root meaning of schizo, just that part of schizophrenia. Schizo literally means to split, to divide, or to separate. Okay? To fragment. But it did not originally mean broken-minded. Okay? It meant split within the psyche. Okay? Which is your psyche is your soul, right? So it's a split within the psyche, and usually between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, the intuitive and soul mind. So that is what we are making whole again, because it was fragmented by way of trauma-based programming. Okay? So schizo is a split within the self. Not a defect, it's a split. Okay? So schizophrenia equals mind plus split state. So it originally described inner conflict, inner fragmentation, spiritual separation, disconnection between intuition and logic. Okay? Traumatic disassociations. Traumatic disassociations. I don't know what just happened there. My screen froze. Okay? Not permanent mental illness. Psychosis versus spiritual awakening. They feel identical at first, which is why we become afraid. Okay? Because you will in both experiences, you will experience the heightened perception, synchronicities, symbolic thinking. Okay? Seeing patterns everywhere. Ego dissolving. Expanded consciousness, reality feeling alive, or you start to feel more alive, right? Emotional intensities, time distortions, and sensitive to energies, okay? And this is how awakening becomes misdiagnosed as psychosis or schizophrenia. Okay, you get trapped in that frequency psychosis aspect of it. Okay, like right in the middle. Okay. The key difference is psychosis, it equals loss of grounding. Okay, so you may have trouble distinguishing between your intuition versus fear, symbols versus threats, inner voices versus external voices, imagination versus reality, and then the nervous system becomes overwhelmed at that point. Okay? Spiritual awakening equals expansion with understanding. Okay? So you're expanding your understanding or your inner standing. Okay? So you start to observe your thoughts more. You start to track your emotions more. Okay? You start to separate intuition from fear. You start to decode symbols with more clarity. You remain grounded while expanding because now you are aware that you are expanding and you're vibrating faster. Okay? You're experiencing higher consciousness without losing your identity. Okay? So you start to grow. You start to spiral upward instead of downward. Okay? Because it is spiraling. When you're expanding, you are spiraling. Okay? Or should I say spiraling outward like this? It just becomes bigger. But in quantum physics, the top of that field is a spiral. Okay? So basically you're not crazy, but purpose is to drive you crazy. But purpose is to drive you crazy. Though you're not crazy. If you're questioning your reality, you're not crazy. If you're aware of what you're experiencing, you're not crazy. You're hyper aware. Exactly, Prixie. Right. You're not crazy. Your spirit is like your spidey senses are online. Okay, it's like you can decode multiple things at one time, right? So you can pick up on a body language, you can pick up on the environment, you can pick up on the intention behind the tone or behind the words. Or it's almost like you read minds. Okay, you have your channel is open, it's clear, rather. Okay, you're taking those fragments and you're making them whole again. So you're clearing your channel, your field, and you're ultimately sealing your field as well. Okay, you're just becoming aware of that expansion. Says you are the storm of your storm in your inner and outer. So you have to rise and become. Yes, become the storm. Hyper aware. Exactly. All right. So spiritual meaning of this delusions and hallucinations. So in ancient systems, delusions were not insane ideas. Okay. This is where these Western scientists got this shit fucked up and wrong. Okay. They tried to take some sacred knowledge and use it against you. That's what's really happening and how they could benefit from it. Okay. But in ancient systems, all right, delusions were not insane ideas. They were unintegrated symbols from the subconscious rising too fast. Symbols. Okay. Oh, child. My back hurting. I've been sitting down too long. So your soul speaks in metaphors. And if you're anything like me, you might talk in metaphors. I do that often. But that's because, our subconscious mind communicates to us by way of symbols. This is why the ancients had symbols, okay? And the soul speaks in metaphors. Osama, Ashe. All right, so trauma memories mixing with intuition. Hallucinations were considered third eye opening. Okay. Ancestral memory bleed through. Now, mind y'all, this they consider crazy. Psychic senses without training. Okay. Nervous system decoding subtle energies incorrectly and symbolic visions leaking into physical perception. So the problem is not the visions. The problem is the interpretation without grounding. The problem is fear-based programming and not love. The problem is not being grounded and not able to interpret what it is that you're experiencing correctly. Okay? So fear is going to perceive everything from a fear-based talk or a fear-based thought. It's not safe. I'm crazy. I'm hearing voices. I'm seeing things. What's wrong with me? That's what fear is going to tell you. That's what your lower ego is going to tell you too. Because not your lower ego is trying to survive within that fear-based programming. So any thoughts or any ideas outside of that lower ego that we've created to survive in that limited belief system that we grew up in, okay, it's going to survive. So it's going to try to influence you to stay safe, okay? Because your lower ego is trying to keep you safe. No, I'm not talking about dreams. I'm talking about hallucinations. and what hallucinations were considered. Okay, through trauma memories mixing with your intuition. Okay. So your nervous system mechanics of soul expansion. And again, I'm going to put this live on YouTube. So if you ever need to go back and watch it, you will be able to do so. Okay. Because I know sometimes we may need to hear information more than once to fully interpret the message, or, you know, digest what's been said. Okay. Hey, Rachel. Is that Rachel? Hey, Rachel. All right. So nervous system mechanics of soul expansion. When the soul expands through awakening, trauma release, or consciousness work. Yes, my name is Spiritual Detective on YouTube. I don't be on Instagram like that, but Instagram. And Limit 8 is the same. Okay. But my TikTok content goes to Limit 8. So if you're not on Limit 8, that's fine. It's the same content. Okay. But when I'm live on TikTok or YouTube. Now, when your soul expands through awakening, trauma release, consciousness work, your nervous system begins processing. Okay. And some of the things that I'm talking about, not everything, not the quantum physics aspect of it, but your nervous system, the neurological aspect of it, I do talk about in my Healing Trauma ebook, okay? Where I teach you how to awaken the divine feminine within by reprogramming your subconscious mind. That is a lot of what I'm talking about is in my ebook, okay? So I strongly recommend those who are in this maybe frequency psychosis phase, or you just feel like you're or you're stagnant on your healing journey, I will highly recommend you purchase that book. You get it half off during this live. Once I'm off live, the price does go back up. Okay. And it's originally $22.22. Okay. And I do have a hard copy as well. Let me show y'all. I like to show y'all. I was thinking about doing a giveaway. I don't know how I'm gonna go about that though, but it's a hard copy. It's on Amazon, and it costs more than the ebook. So just so you know. Okay. But I might change the price on Amazon, but this is what it looks like. And it's not very thick. So it's not, it's loaded with information, but it's not very thick at all. But I give you some really good tools on how, you know, to work through trauma. Okay. So I have about 8 chapters in here where I talk about why healing matters, understanding trauma and its impact, creating boundaries as a wounded empath, self-awareness, embracing emotional release, rewiring the brain through positive habits, your 7 spiritual bodies, your chakras and emotional state. Okay. And building a strong support system, even if you have to be your own support system for a while. Okay. Or connect with people like myself who teach you about liberation. Okay. Who teach you about, you know, who are against all forms of slavery. Okay. Because you don't want to go from one guru to another where they're just trying to benefit off your mental or spiritual enslavement. Right. We're trying to break that cycle. Okay. So we don't want to connect with so-called gurus who are still trying to cap our consciousness. I don't want to cap your consciousness. I want you to be completely free. Okay. Completely free. I'm not looking for a following. Okay. Although, you know, you can follow if you want, but it's not about that for me. And it's not about me leading you either, because I teach sovereignty. So if I'm teaching you to be a sovereign being, okay, then that means you don't need a leader. You don't need anybody to lead you. You don't need a God. You don't need, what society teaches you that you need. Okay. Thank you, Rachel. You want the hard copy? Okay, I have to get the link. Okay, because I don't even think I have the link to the hard copy. My Amazon link. I don't have it. Miss Jim says we are connected, love, because we connected for a purpose. Exactly. So I want I want thinkers around me. I want people who ain't easily controlled around me. People that question things. Okay. People that can lead themselves. People that are intuitive. Okay. People who are authentic, most importantly. Okay. I don't want to have to tell you how to think, how to be, how to show up in the world. None of that. Okay. True sovereignty is authenticity. Freedom. Okay. Say go to Amazon. Yeah, I'm gonna post it to my bio. I think I'm gonna check the price. I might do like a sale price so you guys can get the hard copy, because I really recommend the hard copy. Okay, that way you can see it in person, right? So I teach you how to take a real-time, comprehensive, and transformative approach. Okay. Yes. I did have a group at one point, but I don't have a group anymore. I might consider making another group, okay? But it's always something with that. It's always something. Your time is your time. You're right, Miss Jim. You're right. You're absolutely right. She say, don't go changing the price. Price is the price. You're absolutely right. I think that'd be the empath in me, right? It's like, okay, I don't want to, because it's ultimately not necessarily about the money. Of course, you want to be paid for what you create and what you do, right? But yeah, I want it to be affordable. Say raise it up. They do. Raise the price. I'm working on another book, so I don't know. That one is definitely gonna be loaded, much more loaded than this. I feel like this is like a starter, or this is like this book is more like I said, if you feel stagnant on your journey, or if you're still struggling with the transformation phase, or understanding trauma, or understanding how it has a neurological effect on you, or to me it's a basic volume. So I might do a volume 2, or you know what I mean. I do. You say you have to live as well. That's why I accept donations. My Cash App is listed in the bio. If y'all ever feel guided to give a donation. Yeah, I do have a family to care for. I am a mother of 4. Absolutely. Yes. I do have bills like everybody else. Okay. Now, let's see. Where did we leave off at? Okay, so when the soul is expanding, right? So that's through awakening, trauma release, and consciousness work. Okay, so you're receiving more information. So you're processing more information quicker than what you normally would be used to. Okay, you're more intuitive. Okay, you're more in tune with subtle energies, right? You have more emotional materials, more psychic data. Okay, so this is the upgrading from like a 1990 computer to a quantum processor. Okay, you say you're spreading love, truth, love. Yeah, I am. You say, but still trying to use the old writing. Okay, so it's like, right, you're upgrading from a old computer system to a quantum processor. Ultimately, your mind is a computer. Okay, it's a technology. It's a intelligence. All right. So you're trying to use an outdated system on an advanced system. Okay. So if the nervous system cannot keep up with sensory overloads occurring, or people misinterpreting patterns, or paranoia increases, anxiety heightening, intuition feels threatening at that point, the ego panics, the shadow material rises, okay? It creates the illusion of being targeted, watched, the environment reacting to you, people acting in patterns, okay? But it's actually your psyche reorganizing itself, okay? So this is the bridge. As a subconscious surgeon, is what I would call myself, if anything, okay? I am so intrigued with the mind and how it works in the subconscious mind, okay? I might even say a little obsessed, all right? So I operate as a subconscious surgeon, okay? So that is providing the bridge between your psyche and pulling it back together so you can heal that split consciousness. See you later, Dean. You can heal that split consciousness, okay? Ground the awakening. Ground yourself. Interpret the intuitive overloads, okay? So converting chaos into stability or understanding, okay? Stabilizing your energetic expansion. So bringing the soul back into the body, okay? So it's like you're avoiding a fall, and you are in full multidimensional awareness, okay? Full multidimensional awareness. So it's like all of your spiritual body, which there are 7. You have 7 spiritual bodies, right? And all of them become whole, not fragmented, and start processing information the way it should have been processed from the beginning. All along, okay? You say you was too intrigued with mental schizophrenia. Yeah, me too. Or mental diseases altogether, right? Anything they got a name for. Definitely into like psychoanalysis, psychology, all of the things. So I just study this stuff just for the fun of it, like just because, like all the time. All the time, because I understand that, you know, again, your mind is like a computer. It operates like a computer. So I am intrigued with us learning how to consciously create our reality and program our subconscious mind, okay? You say community disease control. Yeah. Yes, I used to work for CDC. All right, y'all. I am done talking to you guys. How long it's been? It's been a little over an hour. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and head out. You guys have a big, beautiful day on purpose with a purpose, peace, power, and sovereignty. Okay. I see you, Frank. Frank liking. I see Frank liking. Frank, you was in here that whole time, Frank. Well, I feel like I know you, Frank. Thank y'all for all y'all support. Thank y'all for the shares, the likes, the comments, all of that you do. Appreciate it all. Okay. Says she, see, we are connected. Yeah. Yeah, I have a big, beautiful day on purpose. Exactly. And remember, love over fear. To every problem, there is a solution. And I'm going to repost this for y'all. So if y'all ever want to go watch it again, it'll be on YouTube. Okay? Ashe.